as I've said so many times, when you come to shows like this, you learn so many new things. And I just met Philipp from Elantas.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So my colleague, he was very impressed yesterday because he was here with you and saw that you're specialized in creating inks, conductive inks for screen production to make printed electronics, to make sure, right?
Yeah. That's correct.
Is that like a new technology, or tell us a little bit about the technology?
It's a very fancy, pretty cool technology, by the way, and for sure there are coming new products in the market with print electronics. But to be honest, print electronics is since more than 20 years now in the market. So it started in the field of membrane switches, where print electronics is still in. But for sure there are new devices, new technologies which are now integrated print electronic. I have some samples for you. If you're interested in, I can show you some of them.
I will see them in a second, but before we go to that, so basically, just to understand it correctly, because I asked a stupid question, so let's get that over with right away. I first said it was Flexo, and you said no, it's screen printing.
Yes.
And you said basically because in the ink, to make it conductive, you have some silver flakes in the ink.
Correct.
And if you use any other technology than screen, it will build up basically, right?
Totally right, you are totally correct. And the reason why we are using screen print instead of, for example, offset, is that we are using, as you mentioned, silver flakes for our conductive inks. And these silver flakes have a specific size what we need to have a conductivity in our ink. So to transfer these inks from the printing process to the substrate, we need a printing method which is good to transfer this kind of big flakes. And screen print is one very simple, easy and good printing technology method to transfer, because of the big mesh, that big sizes of flakes.
Does that also give some limitations in how fine the electronics can be printed?
You're totally right, but today we are able to print fine line application for solar cells, for example, up to 30 microns fine lines.
Wow, okay. So when you talk about the print electronics, I mean, just to establish, it's not a new technology, but is it an evolving technology that's getting used more and more, or is
Correct.
it? Yeah.
It's like you said, and we started with the membrane switches, was the first one, but also in the field of membrane switches themselves, there's a new development, what we can see, because the people would like to have on the same area, on the same space, more function. Yeah, that means more buttons, more function behind it, and for that, we need an ink with fine line function, and we need that fine line to have more circuits, more traces on the same space.
So basically, as with every technology, this evolves with new opportunities and new ways of doing things, and of course, customer and demand driven, right?
Right, absolutely right.
So, Philipp, you said to me that you have some samples that you're showing customers here. Bring them on. Let's see what you can do here, right?
All right, we can start with, what I have here is, for example, let me start with that. It is a printed battery.
Really?
It's a printed battery, totally printed in screen print. You need only 7 layers for that, and this one is creating 6 volts. What you can see is you have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and each cell has 1.5 volts. And the advantage is, this one is flexible, you can bend it like this.
Oh, so it doesn't break? Okay, and you have the poles here for
absolutely
connecting it to whatever you're connected to?
So try to do that with a coin cell. You can do it maybe 1 time.
I will not do it 2 times because I think 6 volt is enough to...
Yes.
Will you try?
Not with the coin cell, to be honest. But this one, as you can see, it's flexible.
Yeah.
It is very thin, lightweighted,
yeah,
and you can print it in any shape, in any design what you want.
And is this rechargeable?
This one is not rechargeable, but rechargeable is available.
So basically you could have something that is as thin as this?
Absolutely, and make it rechargeable.
Yeah, because that basically gives you, now you have like in small thin products, you have, instead of having the bulkier batteries, you have something that is easy to produce, right?
I would like to show you a sample where you can integrate it.
Yeah.
If you have a look over here, this one is a fantastic white wine, by the way.
I can take it home if you like to. That's
no worries. This one is a white wine with a printed label, with printed electronic behind it, and by pushing the button, you can see it's illuminated.
So the label is printed in like a conventional label.
It is a standard conventional label.
And then you have the screen printing with electronics on it.
Correct. It's behind it.
Yeah. And what about the lights and the batteries? Is that also?
It's printed, and this is a printed OLED display. And as you have seen, the battery, it's the same size. You can bend it like this, and you can activate it.
So, and if you look at the label, of course it's thicker than a normal label, right? But it's, yeah, but it's not something that, I mean, it is quite astonishing what you can do.
Absolutely. And we can combine it with different additional values. For example, this is just a regular button, what you can push. But we can combine it with some motion detectors, for example. Try to imagine you go to a supermarket and you have a lot of wine bottles.
And it starts to blink.
Absolutely, just passing through and then they start to blink. How innovative is that?
Super innovative.
For sure, it doesn't make sense for cheap white wine and red wine.
Because that was my next question, is like you can do these kind of things. I mean, you can take people to the moon, right? More expensive than an Airbus, for example, right? But what you're saying about here, this is an example of what you can do. But is this still like super expensive to do, like one-offs?
No. For sure, it is expensive, and it's more expensive than like
it's a conventional label.
Absolutely, that's clear.
Yeah.
But try to imagine, the Coca-Cola company, they have produced 2 million labels for the Star Wars film when it was coming up in the cinemas. They have created 2 million labels together with the Coca-Cola, and they have 2 Jedi Knights with the light absorber. It illuminated.
Oh, so they have already used it?
With 2 million labels in Singapore. And if Coca-Cola can do that with 2 million labels, you can imagine that is possible.
Fanta can do it in Germany, right? Definitely, right?
Yes, right.
So any other examples you want to show?
Yes, please. There's something...
I mean, this is totally cool, I must say.
Absolutely. It is a marketing flagship project. Yeah. You can do very attractive things with that. Yeah. This one, let's start with this one here. This is a HMI device, a human-machine interface device. It's the demonstrator, what our customer has printed with our functional inks. And this is just showing you the possibilities of print electronics. So behind it we have the functional layers combined with some LEDs, with some logics, and by pushing the button, for example here, we can measure the humidity in the air. That means there's a printed humidity sensor behind it, and by pushing the button we can check the humidity in the air. We also can check the temperature, we can also check the pressure and different other things. This is already in the automotive industry. If you are in the car, in the vehicle, and you push a button, this is how it works. It's done by print electronic. Really? Yes.
Amazing. And that is like, you have also a sock. Let's take, is that the last time you want to show now? Because I have a, okay. So what is that? A smart sock?
It's a smart sock, and you're asking for sure, what does a smart sock do? As you can see, it's stretchable, it's printed,
and it's not like unpleasant to touch, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
But there's a serious reason behind it. For example,
so it's not just for fun.
No, this one not. But for sure, we can also do it for fun by measuring the pulse, for example, the blood pressure, etc. But in this case, it is for patients in the hospital. So there are some disabled people with the Down syndrome, for example, and these people can get dangerous for themselves or for the nurses or the doctors. And with this smart sock, the nurses or the doctors are able to measure the stress level of the patient.
Really?
So it's measuring the chemistry of your sweat. It is analyzing it and gives you information by a smartphone or whatever and tells you, oh, this guy is under very high stress and it could be dangerous. So go prepare yourself.
So this is replacing the polygraph.
Yeah.
Lie detector, right? Sorry, I couldn't help it. So, I mean, Philipp, obviously the applications are vast here. The typical customers that are buying this, of course, I mean, I see the application. Now you have like Freudenberg here as an example. Is that like a traditional kind of Seabrook or screen printing company that see opportunities moving into this segment?
Totally right. That is also the reason why I'm here. I would like to to show the conventional classic printers, screen printers, but also flexo printers in the market. Hey, there's a new technology, what you can do. It's added value. You can make a new business. Yeah, this is totally with added value for you guys out there. So this one, the company Freudenberg, as you have mentioned, is a normal screen print shop. But they have seen that there's a huge advantage for them to go in this market of consumer electronics.
Of course, yeah.
And now they have invested a lot of money in new machines, in new separated buildings, because it is a good business for them.
And you sell the inks, right?
Totally right. What we are doing is we are producing functional inks with a focus on screen print.
Yeah, so basically this is a huge opportunity because there's so many screen printers out there, right? But what about the applications? Because I mean, I don't think that if you are like a conventional Siebdruck or a screen printer, you just print a battery, right? Then you need to have understanding of how it works, right?
Yeah, for sure. But to be honest, to print a battery, I would say it's possible for everyone outside there.
But you give like templates for it, or I mean, how do people get into it? Because I mean, I would let's say that I wanted to do a humidity measuring. I don't think my first choice is go to a screen printer.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And this is the challenge for the people. You need the connection, you need the network to the market, because this is totally different customers than they have currently. Yeah. So this is a challenge on that, but it's possible. Yeah.
And you're here at the IST UV-Days. I mean, if you have a screen printer already with the mesh and everything, and it's ready to do this kind of thing, do you need a UV for curing it?
Yes.
Or okay, so that is like the investment. If you don't have UV curing, you need to have that, right?
There are two options. There are solvent-based inks, where you need some dryers, IR lamps, etc. But you need always a combination between a solvent-based ink and a dielectric UV curable ink. And this dielectric ink or insulator needs to cure by initiating UV light, and that's the reason why we are here.
Fantastic. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Likewise.